Hi, do we need to wait for the tutor?
Yeah, the team.
Why do you need tutor to be on in this meeting?
Oh, because he said it, he want to join us.
Oh, he wants to join. Okay.
Hi, we are not sure if the tutor will come, so shall we start?
Yeah, maybe we can start now.
Anyone would like to share the screen?
Rachel, can you introduce something about this project? Because the document is not very clean.
Yeah, it's not very clear.
Hello, Professor. Are you
Mhm.
here?
Yeah.
So can you answer the red question?
Go ahead.
Would you please introduce the background of the project? Why set up this web application? We need to get more detail about the
Project. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. So this is your capstone project, right?
Yes.
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 Okay. So I want you guys to create a web application, and this web application will basically allow one psychometric measure to different numerical space.
What does this psychometric space mean? Would you please tell us?
Did you do any search background study on what that means?
We
Yeah, we have
searched,
searched, but not many results.
I mean, not many.
Yeah.
There's a
Yeah.
huge, huge literature on psychometric measurement.
Yeah.
So what's your understanding of psychometric space or measurement?
We don't really know. Yeah, we researched it, but there are not so many results.
Yes, and
So
among
would you
those
please tell
results,
us?
what are your understanding of psychometric measures? Look, this is a capstone project, and
Yeah.
you need to act as a little small software development company. And you
Yeah.
need to treat this as a real job.
Okay.
Yeah.
If this is a real job, you're gonna go and see your client without doing any background study.
Okay.
Okay.
They're gonna say, well, look, sorry, we're not gonna pay you for
Yeah.
this. We'll ask someone else.
Okay.
Okay, that's the whole point of capstone project. You really need to treat this as the real job.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
It's our problem.
Yeah.
Have you guys done any actual work as a software developer?
Oh no,
Yes,
because the tutor team told us we need to connect with you firstly. We should first connect with you to get all the requirements about this project.
That's true. But if I were you, if I'm working as a company, okay, and I found someone wants to looking for someone to develop this product, and I contacted, okay, I think we can do it. Can we have a first meeting? And before that meeting, I would do my background study as much as I can. So if anything, any terms or phrases I don't understand in this very short description, I'll do my background literature survey or anything like that first. I'll do my study homework first before I meet a client the first time.
Okay.
Wouldn't you do that?
Sorry, it's not a problem.
I deliberately made this project description very, very short.
Mhm.
So you have no idea what the psychometric is? Okay, have you, let me ask you a different question. Have you done,
Sorry,
you need to study
our
survey?
ultimate dropout. Can we wait?
Hmm?
Sorry, can we wait 1 minute? One of our teammates drop out.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's okay.
Okay, so the psychometric is basically you want to measure psychological response of a human being.
Mhm.
Right, there's some example. Okay, you've taken units of study in a course at the University of Sydney before, or is this first time?
This is the first time.
This is the first time, and are you already doing capstone project?
Oh, no.
So you've taken some courses before, right?
Yeah.
At the University of Sydney.
Mm-hmm.
Right. At the end of the semester, did you do survey? Unit of study survey?
Yes.
Okay. In the unit of study survey, how did you rate each question? How did you answer each question? Was it like a short answer, short written answer, or multiple choice, or some scale, or what was it?
In usual, there are some marks, 1 to 5 or 1 to 10.
That's right. So, but 1 to 5, there was an actual description, wasn't it?
Yes.
Strongly disagree or
Yes.
disagree, right?
Yes.
So that's example of kind of psychometric. It's basically your feeling. There's another thing is how do you found this ice cream? You might say sweet. Then how sweet was it? Very sweet or a little bit sweet, or so lots of different measures in expressing those psychological feeling state. Or you could say, I'm very tired. How tired are you? Okay, so those measures, okay. And the example of unit of study is the mapping is kind of already given, right? Strongly disagree is usually 1, and strongly agree is 5, right? So you rank between 1 to 5. So that's already those 5 measurement is already mapped to numerical space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But those numerical space is an integer space. Okay, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no 1.1 is defined. There's no 2.3 is defined.
Okay.
Right. So that's integer space. If if it is mapped to actual real number space 1.0 to 5.0, including all the values in between 3.335. So that's a continuous number space, right? There's no gap. If it's a pure integer space, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 exist.
Mhm.
But if you're going to map this strongly disagree to strongly agree to continuous number space between 1.0 and 5.0, then I might ask a question, okay, what's the feeling of 4.7?
Okay.
Okay, if it's integer space, that's between agree and strongly agree. But 4.7, no, agree is a 4, strongly agree is a 5. So what is a 4.7? What is the actual description or feeling of corresponding 4.7? We don't know, right? It's hard to describe. So what I want from this tool is to create such a mapping, continuous mapping from one space to another continuous numerical space. Okay.
Yep.
And in order to do that, so the web, for example, so this web application might have a very, very simple interface. Well, I would say there's a couple of main functions. One is to let the user to define this mapping between one psychometric space to another continuous number space. So that's one main function. Another main function is that once you finished making this mapping or projection, or then you need to save that mapping in the database. So later on, I can just retrieve that mapping, which is already created. Okay. And the database part is probably quite straightforward, right? Once you create the mapping, you somehow store that data into the database. That's probably is not that difficult thing to do. But the difficult part or interesting part is, okay, how are we going to actually create this mapping? Right?
Okay, what kind of mapping do you want? Is visualization like a bar chart, line chart, or anything else? What
Sorry,
kind of
what's
mapping?
the question? What's a mapping got to do with the visualization?
Yeah. What's the result do you want?
Result
What
in
kind of
I want a result which actually map the one psychometric to measure to another numerical space. That's what I
Yeah.
want. And I want to be able to do that for many different measures. And each time I want you to save that in the database. Do you get it?
maybe?
Okay. So like I said, the database part should be very straightforward. It shouldn't be very difficult. But interesting parts you might find, you got to do a bit of researching and development. Will be actually developing this mapping part, because you need to map the psychometric, which is not numerical, to numerical space. And it won't be the linear mapping. It will be non-linear mapping. Have you done any kind of similar thing? Have you learned anything about a projection?
Yeah, we have learned 504648.
What?
Yeah, it's in,
5048.
it's in the name
Yeah.
of the course.
Yeah,
When did you do that?
last semester.
Okay, and what did you learn about mapping? What kind of mapping did you learn?
Lots of dynamic, static, continuous, numeric, lots of different
Yeah, I think,
visualization.
yeah, there are many forms of
Visualization and mapping is different.
it's different. So mapping is only mapping, right?
Yeah, that's right. Once you've done a mapping, then you can do visualization, but so you haven't learned anything about what kind of tools or technique or algorithm you can use to do nonlinear mapping from one space to another?
I think no.
No? Okay. Right. So that's maybe that's another thing you might need to do research. Okay. One thing I can tell you is say you you created this is one psychometric space. Say you're going to measure the emotion of happiness. Okay. And you're going to have lots of words describing happiness. Okay, happy. What's the opposite of happy?
Sad.
Sad. Okay, you can have sad. Okay, happy and sad. Okay, just two. How happy is it? How sad is it? A little bit happy,
Yeah.
very happy, extremely happy. So you can have the many different levels of this happiness and sadness,
Okay.
right? So that's your happiness space, right?
Yes.
Then you need your algorithm, your method, or your program needs to find the mapping between those description or happiness or whatever to set of numbers, right?
Yeah. So use number to means the very happy or very sad or little sad, right?
Yes,
Either
but
so on.
you can't just map to one to say you have say you came up with this 7 description, a little bit sad,
Description.
sad. No, I'm just giving an example. You might end up with
Okay.
10. We don't know.
Okay.
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 But say you came up with the 7. Okay. I don't want you to just map that to the number between 1 to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because there's no guarantee distance between 2 and 3. Okay.
Okay.
Little bit sad and sad. Okay. 2 and 3, the difference is 1. Okay. And what's the other one? 5 and 6. Happy and a little bit happy. And that difference, 5 and 6, the difference is also 1. But there's no guarantee from that description. Little bit sad and happy and a little bit happy, the difference should be 1. Might not be the same. In terms of a little bit sad and sad, maybe distance is much wider. We don't know. That's why I'm saying it's a non-linear mapping. If it's a linear, if everything is linear, whatever number of description you came up with, you can just equally map to the equally spaced integer space. Are you getting it, or you lost?
I lost because I have never get in touch with this kind of project. We thought this is a web project. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Web project, web part is a part of it. You have to create a web front end, and you have a database running in the background, and you need to connect those two. But what this web application is doing is creating this mapping part.
Okay. How do users input the data?
So user would first of all type in this list of psychometric description, right? So I imagine on this web interface front end, I would say, okay, I have 7 description on the cycle. And in the 7 text fields, I don't know how you're going to present, but once I specify, okay, I need a 7 description, and I start typing 7 descriptions in order, right? And I'm going to, on this web interface, this web application is going to ask me, please provide me the sample mapping. I don't know what other mappings are, but I know the extremely sad, I want that to be 0.0. And I want extremely happy, which is the top range, to be 7.0. Okay. And I know that I feel nothing, not sad or not happy. I want that to be 4, not 5, or, oh, hang on, what's the middle of 7? No, that's not interesting. Or let's say 3.0, just normal feeling. I'm not happy, nor sad. That's 3.0. So that means you're going to describe more about happiness and less sad, right?
Okay, just about feelings. Anything?
The user will decide what kind of psychometry. You don't have to come up with. Let the user define those psychometric measures. Some user might come in and use this web application and trying to find a mapping between something is funny or not funny. Okay, and you want to use it to describe a movie, for example.
Okay.
But a user will decide what kind of those expression we feel. And the user will provide what kind of feeling he or she wants to map, and a few samples of numerical value. Obviously, endpoints. What is the lowest number? What is the highest number? And in the middle, you don't have to provide all the numbers corresponding to those expression you just provided. So some user might describe 4 emotions. Not funny, funny, a little bit funny, very, very funny. Those 4 description. And not funny, I want to be 0. Very, very funny, I want that to be 10.0. And maybe I know so funny, and I know the funny to be, let's say, number 4. So very funny, I don't know. And maybe later on, I might add, what did I say? It's not funny, funny. if I might come up with some fifth description, which sits between not funny and funny. And your mapping will automatically gives me the number. And when you're doing those mapping part, there are a number of those projection type of algorithm you can use. But that one, I'm not going to specify which algorithm you should be using it. You can do some research on what kind of mapping you can use. And maybe you can propose or suggest me which one might be better.
Hi, Professor Masa. I'm Tin. I'm the tutor for this subject. So what are your deliverables? Are you trying to get the students to develop both the mapping transformation function as well as the visualization tools from the web-based applications?
Okay, you should let them ask that question. That's part of their job. Okay, so before you came in, I was explaining to them this is a capstone project, so they need to treat this as the real job. So they're running a very small, development company, and I'm the client, and so that they're doing a requirement engineering at the very beginning, finding out what the client wants, clearly defining what the deliverable is, those things, that's part of their job.
Yep, I understand.
Right. So if this company is going to say, oh yeah, we only do the web development and I can't implement this functionality, then I'll say, well, okay, thank you very much. I'll find someone else to do it. All right. So the main functionality is if you can let the user to choose which kind of the mapping function user can choose, that'd be great. If this application can implement 2 or 3 possible nonlinear mapping functions or algorithm, and user can choose which one to use to create this mapping, that'd be great. So the user provides a psychometric space and target numerical space, maybe range and some sample mapping. Then whatever algorithm available, and the user say, okay, I'm going to use this algorithm to do the mapping, and this algorithm will just run its algorithm based on those sample data. This psychometric expression corresponds to 0.0, this corresponds to 4.0, this corresponds to 10.0, and in between, this algorithm would try to find this nonlinear mapping. And once this algorithm does that calculation, then this system will save the results, this mapping results, into database so that other people can retrieve that and use the same mapping.
I see.
So forth. And maybe if one of those such measure was when people feels funny or not funny, right? And lots of different expression of funniness. And some movie recommendation websites, something like a Netflix, come to this website and say, oh, okay, someone actually did the measurement and there's a numerical value associated with this each expression. I'm going to use this nonlinear mapping results and use it in my Netflix for user evaluation. So every time user watch the movie, they describe the feeling, and this tool will automatically map that to numbers. So within the Netflix, they actually use the numbers to do some recommendation, calculation, and so forth. That's just an example.
I see. If you don't mind me ask some of the technical questions about how you envision the project direction to be at, it sounds like this is some sort of optimization problem where you want to optimize what the model output is based on the user input of where they want certain user-defined level to be mapped to certain numerical value. And from the sounds of it, it could either be done by neural network-based method or by constraint-based optimization techniques. Is that right?
Well, that one, there's a number of different ways to carry out nonlinear mapping method.
Exactly.
So those ones, this team should do some research and find out pros and cons of those different methods, and maybe pick a few of them and make them selectable for the user. So user of this web application can choose which method to use.
I see. And do you envision this as mapping from within the same dimensionality, or do you want to map it into either a higher or lower manifold?
No, this is just this is the one dimension to one dimension.
Oh, just one dimension.
Yeah.
One dimension shouldn't be too hard, right?
Yeah, but you don't know the look. Example I gave is like the happiness, right? The first start with the happy and not happy. Well, let's call it sad instead of not happy. I'll call it happy and sad. And I can also say a little bit happy, or very happy, extremely happy, or enormously happy. Or on the other side, I can go different kind of sadness. And also I can create a number of different expressions between sad and happy. And I might initially just specify sad and happy, extremely sad, extremely happy. So there's 4 points, sample points. And for those, I have some numbers I want mapped to, right? But in between, I don't know. Okay.
Sure, but then it could also just be pointwise linear, right? From the sounds of it. Or it
No,
could be
that we
something-
can't make that assumption. That human emotion is perceptually, unless you know there's a psychometric, you have a perceptually linear description. You cannot assume the mapped numerical space is also linear. You can't do that. So usually perceptual space is highly nonlinear. So that's why you need to use some kind of nonlinear mapping method.
I agree. Is there a way for you? So would the student get some sort of data set for them to evaluate the? Because from the sounds of it, it sounds like it depends on the user input, and right now the student doesn't have user input, so I'm not sure how would they evaluate the methods.
No. Evaluating method is not that important.
Okay.
As long as you selected few different nonlinear mapping method, that's fine. This is not their job to evaluate how accurate each nonlinear mapping algorithm is. That's not their right. The application is that those nonlinear mapping algorithms are already available, maybe 1, 2, 3 different algorithms, and their job is to create a web application, providing a web user interface so the user can type in those psychometric space and some sample of those numerical numbers of those psychometric descriptions, and select the algorithm, ban, and find a nonlinear mapping, and save that nonlinear mapping data into database for later use, or someone else to use.
Yep. So this project is more just for the implementation part then.
That's right.
Yep. Got it. Sorry if I asked too much question. I just want to help the student to clarify the things that
Sure.
they do.
Sure.
So do you guys have any specific question that you want Professor Masa to clarify?
Sorry, we're still a bit confused. Can we first make a team meeting, and if we have some question, can we send an email to client or give you a team?
Yeah, you can send me
sure, if-
email. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys have any further questions, feel free to let me know. And then if I couldn't clarify it to you, you can then ask Professor Massa to further clarify the specific requirements.
Okay, thank you.
And as a product, I want this product to be deployed using Docker. So then I can deploy it in anywhere using same Docker image. And in terms of web app frameworks and database, I don't, well, maybe database using MongoDB or any kind of NoSQL database is fine. The web application frameworks, it's up to you. Tell me a few consideration on a web application and tell me which one, tell me the pros and cons of those different frameworks and convince me which one is best and use that best one.
Makes sense to me.
And I suggest you to use some kind of project management tool, CI tool to make sure to record everything you do, even if something you tried and failed. I don't want you to lose it. To make sure you record everything, put everything in the repository, version control repository.
Yes, we set up Trello.
Yeah, Trello is good. What sort of version control system are you going to use?
Maybe GitHub.
Okay, and you're going to use GitHub for issue tracking as well? Or you're going to use something else?
No, we want to use GitHub. Maybe we will decide later.
Okay, how about the CI environment? What kind of CI environment are you going to use? You're going to use GitHub or you're going to use something else like Jenkins or anything?
Maybe GitHub.
GitHub, in GitHub, how are you going to use GitHub for CI? Anyone? Have you guys learned CI?
No.
No? Okay. So you don't know what the CI is?
No.
Okay,
No.
CI is the continuous integration. So when you're developing a system, you always have something working, and every time you do, you commit to the repository and run the testing and integrate with everything. It's working so far, so that at any given time, there's always something is a demoable, deliverable. So if you're going to use, a lot of people used to use a system like a Jenkins, that's a free one, and you commit your code, any kind of source code, even a web application code to a repository, that would trigger automatic compilation, automatic integration of the systems, and to run the tests. And if test is passed, and it leaves the product on the system. And if you're going to use GitHub, you can do the same thing with the GitHub's action function. If you use the university's enterprise GitHub, probably that function is not available. If you use public GitHub, there's a function called action. and you can use that for a continuous integration. So every time someone commit the new code or documents, the action, you can trigger the actions and automatically compile or build web app and run the test, and everything is passed and leave the artifact in the repository. You
I
get
get
it?
it. Yeah, I get it. So GitHub would be our first choice.
Okay. That's good. Now, if you're using GitHub, GitHub also has all the issue tracking as well, so you could use that. And I think in GitHub also you can link to Trello. Oh, hang on, Trello is that's a Russian tool, isn't it? Now,
Travis, right?
Trello?
Travis,
Oh, Travis is a different one.
for CI.
Oh, you're going to use
Yes.
Travis?
I think GitHub Action
Okay.
probably is the easiest for them.
Yeah, you can use Travis or whatever, Jenkins, or you can
we-
use anything you want.
we have used Trello during
Okay,
the,
so yeah, Trello is a board-based project management tools.
yeah.
There's a lot of extension or modules. You can link that Trello to those CI tools.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will divide them to different parts, different stages.
Okay. Anything else?
Our team will discuss first, and if we have any issues, we will send the email. And would you please help me? Help
Okay, yeah,
us?
sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
And what are you going to do about the weekly meeting?
Discuss the how to implement it, what kind of technology, and maybe we might design a mock-up.
Okay.
And this is and discuss the assignment of each one's work. This might yeah.
Okay.
That's,
And once you have the initial discussion, just let me know when you want to have a weekly meeting.
Okay.
okay.
So if we have any question, we will email me. Yeah, email you.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Thank
So
you
that's
very
it. That's it for today.
much. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Okay. Like I said it before, treat this as your real job.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
we got it.
Okay.
It's your job.
Don't make me say I'm not going to pay for this. Okay. All right. Good luck. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Masa. Take care.